Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we are diving into a coin that might be hiding in your pocket right now, the United States $quarter from 1988. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter you've used for vending machines or parking meters, but trust me, this little disc has secrets that could make collectors drool. Take a close look at this coin. See that eagle on the back? That's the classic design, but what sets the 1988 quarter apart isn't just the design, it's the rare errors that sneaky little mint sometimes slipped in. Some of these quarters show double dies, where letters or numbers seem to shadow themselves ever so slightly. Others have tiny misstrikes that make the coin look off-center or twisted, and believe it or not, those imperfections are exactly what collectors hunt for. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The 1988 quarters were minted in huge numbers, but coins with noticeable errors are surprisingly uncommon. Imagine thousands of coins pressed, but only a handful end up with these quirks. That rarity is what gives them value beyond the 25 cents you think they're worth. A clean, error-free quarter from '88 is nice, but a misprinted one? That can fetch hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 in the right auction. Let's zoom in closer. See the tiny lines on the eagle's wings or the date numbers that look slightly thicker? That's a double die in action. And these aren't just coin imperfections, each one tells a story of the minting press slipping for a fraction of a second, creating something completely unique. Dirty coins actually make spotting these errors more thrilling because the grime can highlight subtle features you wouldn't notice on a shiny, cleaned coin. Here's a fun twist: some collectors intentionally look for the dirtiest coins because cleaning them can actually reduce value. A worn, circulated 1988 quarter with a misstrike is like a hidden treasure. Most people just see a dull quarter in their drawer, but a collector sees hundreds of dollars waiting to be claimed. Have you ever found a coin like this in your change and tossed it aside? That could have been a jackpot. And speaking of value, these error or misprint quarters typically sell anywhere from $50 to over $1,200 depending on rarity, condition, and demand. Auctions can get fierce because there aren't many with noticeable errors floating around. The ordinary coins are common, but those with a double die or off-center strike? That's a collector's goldmine. So, here's a question for you: do you own a 1988 quarter? Or maybe you've got a drawer full of boring coins that could secretly be worth a fortune. Imagine digging through your change and finding a rare misprint hiding in plain sight. To wrap it up, the 1988 quarter may look ordinary, but its hidden errors, off-center strikes, and double dies make it a gem for collectors, especially if it's worn and dirty. Keep your eyes peeled, check your change carefully, and who knows, you might stumble across a coin that's worth way more than you think. Don't forget to like, comment which coin you'd love to add to your collection, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more hidden coin treasures. Top 2, we are talking about a coin almost everyone has held, and almost everyone has completely ignored. The 1974 United States quarter. And here's the crazy part. One version of this everyday coin has sold for more than most people expect from a pocket change piece. That's why you need to look twice before you spend it. At first glance, this looks like just another quarter. But stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'll show you why collectors hunt certain 1974 quarters, what tiny details can turn 25 cents into real money, and which versions are worth pulling out of circulation immediately. And at the end, I'll tell you what this coin is actually selling for today. Start with a clean close-up of the front of the coin. George Washington's portrait. Strong and familiar. This design had already been around for decades by 1974, which is part of why people overlooked these coins. Flip it over and zoom in on the eagle. Wings spread wide. Simple. Classic. No flashy redesign. That's exactly what made rare versions hide in plain sight. Now here's the important part. The 1974 quarter was made in huge numbers. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco all struck them. Most are copper nickel clad, not silver. So right away, most of these are only worth face value. But collectors don't chase normal coins. They chase mistakes, and this year produced some very interesting ones. Bring in a slow zoom on the date and lettering. Some 1974 quarters were struck with doubled dies. That means the design was accidentally imprinted twice, slightly offset. Look closely at the words Liberty or In God We Trust. On the right coin, letters look thicker, almost shadowed. It's subtle. Easy to miss. And that's why people still find them. Another cliffhanger. Mint errors show a different coin rolling under light. Off-center strikes from 1974 exist, where part of the design is missing. Some were struck on clipped planchets, leaving a curved bite-like shape. Others show dramatic misalignment. These weren't supposed to leave the mint, but they did. And collectors pay attention when they show up. Here's where the story gets fun. Imagine a factory pushing millions of quarters out the door every day. Machines moving fast. Pressure high. Every now and then, something slips. One tiny error. And that error survives 50 years in circulation, cut to B-roll of quarters spilling onto a table. Any one of them could be special. Condition matters too. A normal 1974 quarter that's been used is worth 25 cents. But one in pristine, uncirculated condition? Those can sell for several dollars. Coins graded in very high mint state have sold for $10 to $15, sometimes more, depending on appeal. Now the big question. Errors. Documented double die or dramatic mint error 1974 quarters have sold anywhere from $50 to several $100. Major, eye-catching errors have crossed the $1,000 mark at auction. Not hype. Real results. Real collectors bidding. So before you dismiss this coin, check your change. Look at the date. Look at the letters. Tilt it under light. Small details make all the difference. Do you own a 1974 quarter? Have you ever checked one closely? And what's the one coin you hope to find someday? Drop it in the comments. I read them all. To wrap it up, the 1974 United States quarter is one of the best examples of how ordinary coins can hide extraordinary value. Most are common. Some are special. A few are worth real money. And you won't know unless you look. Top 3, we are talking about a coin you've probably held 100 times and never once thought about, the 1981 United States quarter. And here's the part that stops people in their tracks. Some of these quarters, the same kind you might have used to buy a soda years ago, have sold for hundreds of dollars. One even pushed close to 4 figures. And almost nobody is looking for them. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes I'll show you why the 1981 quarter is quietly one of the most misunderstood modern US coins, what tiny details collectors obsess over, which mistakes turn it from spare change into a real find, and how much the right one is actually worth today. Let's start simple. Bring the camera in close. This is the Washington quarter we all recognize. George Washington on the front, calm and familiar. No special anniversary date. No bold redesign. Just the classic look that blends into everyday life. Flip it over and let the light sweep across the eagle. Strong wings. Sharp arrows. A design that feels almost invisible because we've seen it forever, and that's the trap. In 1981, the United States Mint was under pressure. Inflation was high. Coins were moving fast through circulation. Philadelphia and Denver struck massive numbers of quarters for daily use, while San Francisco focused on proof coins for collectors. Quality control wasn't what it would become later. Machines ran hard. Dies wore out. And that's where opportunity was born. Now zoom in on the date. Slowly. Then slide up to the word Liberty. On most coins, everything looks normal. But on some 1981 quarters, the letters look thicker. Slightly doubled. Almost like a shadow. This is a double die error, and it's one of the most talked about varieties from this year. It's subtle enough to escape casual eyes, but obvious once you know what you're looking for. Here's where people mess up. They assume modern coins can't be rare. But rarity isn't just about how many were made. It's about how many survived in the right condition. Tilt the coin under light. Watch Washington's hair. Look at the eagle's chest feathers. Many 1981 quarters were weakly struck. Details didn't fully form. So when you find one that's crisp, sharp, and clean, collectors notice immediately. Now let's take it up a notch, show a different coin rolling across a table. Some 1981 quarters were struck off-center. The design slides toward the edge, sometimes missing part of the date or lettering. Others show clipped planchets, where a curved piece of metal is missing before the strike. And a very small number were struck on the wrong type of metal blank. These mistakes weren't meant to leave the mint. But they did, and when they show up today, they stop conversations cold. Here's a cliffhanger most people never hear. Even without errors, the mint mark matters. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. Denver coins show a small D, San Francisco proofs carry an S and were never meant for circulation. But every now and then, a proof ends up spent. And if you spot that mirror-like finish and frosted design in your change, that's a moment you don't forget. Put two coins side by side on screen. One dull and worn. One bright and untouched. Same year. Same design. Completely different value. A circulated 1981 quarter is still just 25 cents. No surprise there. A nice uncirculated example might sell for $1 to $3. But here's where it jumps. High-grade coins, professionally graded in mint state 66 or 67, have sold for several $100s. Exceptional examples, especially with strong strikes and clean surfaces, have reached prices close to $1,000 at auction when collectors compete. Proof coins from San Francisco usually sell for a few dollars. But perfect proofs with deep mirror surfaces and no flaws can sell for much more, depending on demand. So what's the lesson? The 1981 quarter rewards patience and attention. It's not flashy. It doesn't scream rare. But it hides its value in small details, condition, and mistakes most people never notice. Do you own a 1981 quarter? Have you ever checked one under good light? And which coin do you dream of finding someday? Drop your answers in the comments. I love seeing what people are searching for. Let's wrap this up. The 1981 United States quarter is proof that modern coins still matter. Ordinary on the surface. Full of stories underneath. And sometimes worth far more than anyone expects. Top 4, we're talking about a coin that looks completely ordinary, yet has quietly shocked collectors for years, the 1980 United States quarter. A coin most people would spend without a second thought. And that's the mistake, because certain 1980 quarters have sold for hundreds of dollars, and a few have pushed close to $1,000. All hiding in plain sight. At first glance, nothing stands out. George Washington on the front. The eagle on the back. No redesign. No anniversary. Nothing that screams rare. And that's exactly why this coin gets overlooked, but the year 1980 matters. The US was coming out of the turbulent 70s. Inflation was high, cash was everywhere, and the mint was under pressure to produce coins fast. Philadelphia and Denver struck millions of quarters, while San Francisco focused on proof coins, and when speed meets pressure, mistakes happen. Zoom in on the date. Then Liberty. Most look normal. But some show doubling, slight shadows on the letters or thicker numbers. These double die errors are subtle, easy to miss, and highly collectible once confirmed. Now tilt the coin under strong light. Look at Washington's hair. Study the eagle's feathers. Many 1980 quarters were weakly struck, meaning details didn't fully form. So when you find one with sharp lines and strong detail, collectors notice immediately. High-quality strikes from this year are tougher to find than most people think. Then there are the coins that stop people cold. Some 1980 quarters were struck off-center, with part of the design sliding toward the edge. Others were struck on clipped planchets, leaving a curved section missing. A very small number were even struck on the wrong metal blank. These mint errors were never meant to escape, but they did. Mint marks matter too. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. Denver coins show a D, San Francisco coins carry an S and were made as proofs, with deep mirror fields and frosted designs. Occasionally, a proof slips into circulation. If you ever spot that mirror-like shine in your change, you don't forget it. Now the numbers. No hyped at a circulated 1980 quarter is worth face value. An average uncirculated example might sell for $1 to $3. But high-grade coins graded MS-66 or MS-67 have sold for several $100s, with exceptional examples approaching $1,000 at auction. Proof coins usually sell for a few dollars, but flawless deep mirror proofs can go much higher. Error coins, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, and wrong planchet errors, can sell from $50 to several $100s or more, depending on how dramatic the error is. The lesson? The 1980 quarter doesn't look rare, but its value lives in the details. Condition. Errors. Strike quality. Things most people never check. So take another look at your change. Because sometimes, the most ordinary coin has the most unexpected story. Top 5, and last rare quarter. We are talking about a coin you've probably spent without thinking twice, the 1970 United States quarter. And here's the surprise. Some of these simple-looking coins have sold for hundreds of dollars, all because of details most people never notice. In the next couple of minutes, I'll show you why the 1970 quarter matters, what makes certain ones valuable, and how to tell if the one in your hand is just pocket change or something collectors want. Take a close look at the coin. Washington on the front. The eagle on the back. A design so familiar it's easy to ignore. By 1970, quarters were no longer silver for circulation. They were copper-nickel clad, which made people assume they weren't worth checking. That assumption is where the value hides. Zoom in on the date and the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Some 1970 quarters show double die errors. Letters and numbers look thicker or slightly shadowed. It's subtle, but collectors love it. Others were struck off-center or on clipped blanks, leaving part of the design missing. These are mint mistakes that weren't supposed to leave the factory. Condition matters too. Many 1970 quarters have weak detail, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. A sharply struck, clean example is much harder to find than you'd expect. Here's the reality on value. A worn 1970 quarter is still worth 25 cents. Uncirculated examples usually sell for $1 to $3. High-grade coins can sell for several $100s, and rare error coins have sold for even more at auction. Do you own a 1970 quarter? Have you ever checked one closely? And which coin would you love to find someday? Let me know in the comments. If this made you look twice at your change, hit like, subscribe, and watch the next video. Because sometimes the most ordinary coins turn out to be the most interesting.